For the past 8 years, I pretty much avoided Big Mouth entirely, but there was a point in my life where I decided to give the show a chance. And I watched the first season, and then I got to the second season, and all of a sudden, Jessie, and I think her name is Missy, they started taking off their clothes, they got naked, and there was this entire spa scene where they start singing about the beauty of womanhood, and I was like, yep, this show isn't for me. I was more thinking at the time, they can convey a good message without having to show middle schoolers naked. No, you could just put bubbles over them as they're walking so you don't have to see it, or you could do fun things and a bunch of fun gags where there's a bunch of different things covering their penises whenever they want to show it. But no, they just decide to go fully into it and commit to the fact, like, let's draw the children naked because they have to relate to it. They just have to. And I never really enjoyed that aspect of the show. I thought it was kind of disgusting, so I moved on and I never really watched Big Mouth again. But recently somebody came up to me and they said, well, if you like smiling friends, why don't you like Big Mouth? At times Big Mouth is even better. Really? Is that actually what you think? Well, I'm going to be testing those waters today, because I have 3 episodes here that you all suggested to me to watch to see if Big Mouth is actually good, and I honestly think I was getting fucking pranked here because one of the episodes suggested was Poop Madness. So, I feel like I'm in for a rough time, but maybe it'll change my perception and I'll understand that Big Mouth is just a renaissance in teaching everybody about the beauty of puberty. Who knows? If you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload almost every single day, and you don't want to miss it. And if you want a place where you can talk about your favorite games, movies, and shows, my Discord will be in the description. Now let's finally take a look at Big Mouth. Taking a look at the episode Pillow Talk, we open this episode with the sounds of aggressive moaning by, of course, a prepubescent boy nutting inside of his pillow.
Abra! Ah, ta-da! Whew, that was amazing.
So good.
Yes, is that gonna get you entranced and enthralled with what's going on in the episode? Of course it is! Who doesn't like to watch just a young boy bust in his pillow? My god, so relatable! So relatable! It's just a very weird way, but I guess, I don't know, I feel like I've seen this episode before, but I don't really remember any of it. It's just a faint memory of watching this kid do horrible, atrocious things to his pillow, and it's all very odd. He's also voiced by Jason Montezukis, if that's how you say his last name, I apologize. He's the same guy that voices Rexplode in Invincible, and just hearing him in Invincible doing some serious things and then seeing this where he's like, oh, I gotta wash my dick before school, oh. Yeah, it's just very odd. And of course the pillow is actually alive. It can't just be a joke where he's just using his pillow up. The pillow is genuinely alive, it seems. It doesn't seem like a joke. And in this world where there's characters that are hormone monsters, there's a ghost that follows Nick around, of course I'm assuming this pillow is genuinely alive and is actually the age it says it is, which is just a whole barrel of weirdness. But either way, what a fantastic way to open this up. We then cut to the school where Andrew, who is just kind of a little freak character. He's the genuine freak Bob. He's Gooner Central. He's throwing all the goon parties, goon party of one, table for one goon. That's pretty much all he does. He's just a little bit of a freak. That's what I remember anyway. And he's trying out for jazz club and he gets in, which doesn't even remotely play a pivotal part in the episode necessarily. It's just more so that he could wear this jazz hat. Yeah, there's a lot of really unimportant conversations that happen in this episode, and I feel like that's going to be just the case for the entire series, where everything they're talking about isn't even necessarily a joke. It's just supposed to be this nonchalant conversation, but when it doesn't pertain to anything going on in the episode, it's just not very funny, and I don't think they do it very well. And then when you also consider how the show looks, you're just looking at a double whammy of depression while watching this. It's actually just sad how they decided to animate and draw this show. I hate it so much. I don't know why every adult animation has to always look so bad. Why is there this just sudden desire like, oh man, so many cartoons before me look fantastic. They look good. They have good animation styles. It's all unique, but let's make them all look stupid. Let's make their lips look extremely elongated like 2 worms having sex. It's so odd, the decisions they do when they're drawing the show and being like, oh yeah, this looks great. Oh my god, look at the size of their noggins. They look like they were in Chernobyl for about 39 days, but it was just their heads just past the border of radiation. It looks stupid. I don't like the way the show looks, but I could get past that if the comedy is all right, you know? If the show is funny, then I'm gonna be having a good time, right? Right? Well, this show isn't very funny. I didn't even have a single internal monologue laugh during this entire episode. It was more just questioning everything, wondering what went wrong, and watching a 11-year-old, 12-year-old, however old this kid is, bust inside of his pillow as the main joke here and saying really odd things. Either way, so Andrew and Nick, they want to go to New York City because Nick wants to make out with this city girl named Royland. So that's a cool plot line, and their conversation again just feels very important because the hormone monster shows up, starts talking about Dick, and then this ghost guy, who I think is like Nick's jazz uncle, shows up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you owe me $7. You owe me $7. Yeah." And the hormone monster's like, "Oh, let's go figure out how to get to New York City." Okay, cool. That's awesome. So then we cut back to Jay and we find out that he got his pillow pregnant. So that's an entire thing. And they have this entire conversation about how she is 40 years old and Jay was apparently also supposed to be 40 years old when they were doing the nasty, because we then cut to Jay using her and he's all like, "Oh, I'm 40. Oh, yeah, I'm 40. Oh, I'm such a middle-aged man," as he, does the nasty in her.
You're 40, right?
Why would you think that? Oh, I'm fucking 40. Ooh, I'm a famous 40-year-old magician.
Which, that's pretty much the entire joke for the whole episode. Every time we cut to Jay, it usually cuts to him using the pillow up and saying something very strange like, "Oh, I'm 40. Oh, I think I'm getting a hernia." Yeah, it's just really weird. And that we see that same joke about 6 or 7... damn it, about 4 or 5 times throughout the entire episode, and it just doesn't get funnier as the episode progresses. I just hate to say it, but it doesn't improve upon itself. I really don't like it. Not at all. So we then cut to Nick and Andrew, and they're in New York City. They lied to Coach Steve to get here. They're going up the elevator, and again, it's just a really unimportant conversation that isn't that funny. It relies on its awkwardness to elevate it, but it doesn't feel like Smiling Friends in the sense where it's like so nonchalant in this whimsical world, because this world isn't very whimsical. They're sitting in an elevator, nothing's happening, and Andrew's like, "Oh, Nick, you don't really understand the world of jazz, you don't understand anything, do you think they'll have any vitamins for my dandruff?"
It's an ancient grain bread. I'd like to eat some soon so I can take my vitamin for dandruff. I'll explain it all to Roland.
Yeah. That's the entire conversation, and it's just not that funny. I don't understand why it exists. It just feels like you're trying to extend the runtime because you decided to make the show be 24 minutes long when it just didn't need to. Why do I need to know that Andrew needs a vitamin for his dandruff? It doesn't appear later in the episode, unless you're adding all of this to kind of aspire to the fact that Andrew isn't a very cool person, which, no shit, he's not a cool person. I think in one of these episodes, he's like dancing with a girl, and he gets so just enthralled in this dance that he nuts just from the touch of a woman. Bro, I don't care if this character is cool. I don't care understanding why he's not cool. I don't care about his vitamins and dandruff. I really don't. And they get all the way up to this floor, and we see Nick get to meet Royland, or see Royland again. Good for him. And then Andrew starts looking at Royland's friends, and he's like, "Oh, are you two a part of those gay communities? Oh, you guys like my hat? Do you guys like my hat?" Yeah, it's just very odd, and I don't like it. And then the entire joke for Royland's character is that she's met famous people. They go up onto this helicopter pad where she's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to Dwayne's house, Dwayne Johnson." And they're like, "You know The Rock?" She's like, "Yeah, but The Rock is clingy." Wow, that was a really funny and well-told joke. You couldn't make like a rock, paper, scissors joke, or I don't know, say that The Rock is rocking. I don't know, something other than, "Yeah, he's clingy." My God, that got the whole room laughing, the whole room just stomping around, ripping off their clothes and just, "Yes, let's draw more underage people naked, yeah." Yeah, that's just how this entire show seems to go. So Andrew and Nick, they don't go with Royland because Andrew seems to be too worried about his hat falling off during the helicopter ride, so they have to go down and look for it because it gets blown away by the wind anyway. And we get a thrilling joke that is just so unbelievably relatable that it's so funny when Andrew showcases how he bought the hat, and we cut to him buying the hat in the mall, and he's using his card and the swipe doesn't work, and they get a chip read error. And oh my god, that's happened to me before at a store, where the chip, it doesn't go in the reader, and it says chip error. Wow.
It's a chip, man. You gotta stick it in.
Oh, yeah, it's not working.
Fuck, let me see it.
That was really funny. That was unbelievably funny. My god, they know exactly what they're doing. 30 writers, a Netflix special, give them 8 seasons, pour that money on them. They know exactly how to make a good television show. Yeah, it's just all a little bit odd. So then we cut to Jay and the pillow once again, and Jay doesn't really want to have this baby, so he threatens to say that the pillow is going to kill him by faking his own death by falling down the stairs, which was an okay gag, I guess. I don't know if I was just in a negative mood from everything before. I thought it could have been funny, but again, just didn't really hit me quite right. And so we then cut back to Nick and Andrew and Nick's ghost, who starts singing a song about New York City. You can't get lost in New York City. The vibe is shitty in Long Island City. Stuff like that. Very boring song. I didn't care for it. It doesn't last very long either way, but it's just coupled with gags of like a guy shitting on the floor or 2 prisoners shooting each other with guns because they have the wrong tattoos. And it's just not that great. And we're interrupted by something that I feel like is supposed to be very important for the show's progression. We see Jesse's mother cheating on her with a woman. She's a lesbian, so we get the reveal that she's a lesbian. She's cheating on her husband. That's great. Do I care? Not even remotely. I guarantee I'm gonna get people in the comments like, well, maybe if you had watched the entire season, then you would understand the overall importance of this scene for Jesse's character, the emotion. Yeah, I'm not watching all of season 1 of Big Mouth. I'll leave it to you, champ. Type away. But either way, that was interesting, you know, for the overarching story, I guess. Feel bad for Jessie for her mom doing that. And of course, we just add to that scene with Andrew throwing up constantly because you're like, oh my god, I thought you were women kissing.
So, you need to do what you think is right.
Yeah, so that was cool and thrilling and just what I wanted to see while watching this episode. Nothing better than that. And then, you know, you think it can't get worse. But you cut back to the Jay story, which we're just interrupting their conversation with the pillow being like, oh, Jay, your farts turn me on. I know you lied about being 40 years old, but your farts, they turn me on. Oh.
Sorry for farting. I'm just so relaxed around you.
No, I like the smell of your farts. They turn me on.
God, thrilling comedy, man. Thrilling, unbelievable comedy. I feel my nipples getting hard. This is so funny. Genuinely. Might as well just bring out the Fent and just destroy all of it, because who needs it at this point when I have Big Mouth? Woo! Yeah, so they're just having that conversation, and then, yeah, it's just not important. Again, like, the main highlight of that conversation is her saying, your farts turn me on, and them saying that they want to have the baby together. They're very excited and thrilled. We then cut to Andrew and Nick, who can't find the hat, and they look for Coach Steve to go back to school. They're having that wondrous conversation with him, and he kind of gives me pedo vibes. I feel like he doesn't turn into that as the series goes on, but him and Nick and Andrew are talking to him about how they lied to him about going to New York, and Coach Steve is like, an intimate moment between friends, huh? Yeah, it's just a little bit weird, but either way, they convince him to take them back to school, and that's very great. So, we then get to watch the birth of the pillow baby, which was great, you know, pillow birth, nothing else I need to see. And it apparently looks like Jay's brother, and the pillow was cheating on Jay, and we get another one of those thrilling jokes where Jay was like, we're in an open relationship, I want you to use my brothers, Yeah, so that's why the pillow did that to Jay, and then they start doing the nasty in front of the pillow baby.
God. Oh, I'm 41!
And the pillow baby just watches with a smile on his face. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Just what I needed. And the plot resolution is awful for the main plot with Nick and Andrew, unless the pillow thing is the main plot. I don't know. They get driven home, their parents catch them, and it doesn't really feel like a happy ending to the story. It just feels kind of whatever, with Nick understanding that Andrew is a unbelievable loser and ruined his chances of kissing the girl that he was into, which was stupid. Like, oh, I'm Andrew, I feel bad about who I am and I think I'm uncool, so everybody else has to fucking suffer. Like, that sucked. And they get home and they see their parents, and wow, are you guys ready for this thrilling joke? They reference the network, the streaming service that they're on, because Nick, his punishment is 6 months without Netflix, so he starts crying. Oh my god, it's like the streaming service that we're watching. Wow, unbelievable comedy skills. I can't believe they thought of something that funny, that good. Wow, it relates to everything going on because we're watching it on Netflix. Yeah, unbelievably great. And so we cut back to Jay one final time, and the pillow leaves him, runs away with the baby, and Jay looks at his bath mat and starts using that up. So yeah, that's the end of the episode there. Yeah, this was a awful viewing experience for me, and I really did, while I was watching it, try to go into it more positive, try to look for a laugh. You know, it's Big Mouth, maybe it's so bad that it's good, but there were just no redeeming qualities. My biggest thing hindering me from enjoying this episode is just all of the unimportant conversation that happens within it. It's just acting like it's talking about something funny or it's being relatable about something, but there's not a single kid out there who is like 12 or 13 who's like, oh, I really need my vitamins for my dandruff. Oh my god, hello. Are you two gay people? Are you doing the gay thing? Oh my god. Like, there's just nothing relatable about Andrew as a character, so his conversations with Nick, they never feel that important to the story. Like, the only important aspect of this story is when they were talking about seeing Jesse's mom do that horrible thing to Jesse. That actually felt important, but everything else, it just feels like nonsensical conversation about, oh, Andrew's such a loser, oh, let's pinpoint more reasons why he's a loser, and then all the Jay stuff. That was the main crutch for comedy in the episode, and I just didn't think it was that funny to watch Jay just having sex with a pillow saying, oh, I'm 40, oh, yeah! It's just not that good, at least to me. And I just don't see any redeeming qualities. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a, like, 2 out of 10? I don't know. I want to say 1 out of 10, but I feel like there's at least the vision of something being good here, but I just can't see it right now. Taking a look at the episode Poop Madness, I knew what I was getting myself into. I asked for good and bad episodes, and this was a suggestion for a good episode here. And I thought, you know, it's called Poop Madness. They're most likely messing with me. They most likely want to give me a toe-curling, skin-crawling episode. I just didn't think it would be this bad. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, but here we are with Poop Madness. It has such a thrilling opening. My God, does it get you excited. With Andrew on the toilet, nothing is coming out. He is just constipated beyond belief. It's like a hippo's up in there. Nothing is coming out. And so, God, it's just so weird. It's so dumb. He starts asking Murray, his hormone monster, to look inside, so he lifts his ass up into the air, his bare naked ass, and just starts showing the grown hormone monster. And just what makes it even worse is, like, the hormone monster, I know he's there to, like, encourage the children to grow up and go through puberty, but it still feels like a grown man saying, like, ooh, Andrew, I can't wait to look inside of your asshole. Oh yeah, bring it up here.
It's psyched to look at your asshole, baby. Oh.
What?
Oh my.
What?
Yeah, it's just very off-putting, and I don't like it. But either way, he's staring at it, and he's making jokes. Like, you know how the groundhog, there'll be 6 more weeks of winter if he sees his shadow? He's like, oh man, there'll be 6 more weeks of sphincter. And that actually got me to chuckle a little bit. I thought that was funny. But either way, we then get to see, like, the actual piece of shit around his gaping asshole, and it's like, why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer. Yeah, What a thrilling, unbelievable way to open this episode. It's very odd, it's very shocking, and it just doesn't get better from there. It really doesn't. There is a core of this episode that I do like. I like all the stuff with Jessie and her friend who is trans. I don't know her name, but I liked that side of the episode, except it was so unbelievably short and it felt like everything was overlooking that, because it felt like there was the grounds to tell a good story, but there wasn't like the motivation to do it, because they were like, we need to focus on Andrew and his poop madness and how the poop is overtaking his body. Oh yes, there's a shit, it's brewing and it needs to come out. And then there's also the stuff with Nick, and he has this anxiety bug who like constantly is whispering in his ear that he's not good enough, that everybody's watching him, that he's failing. I also thought that portion of the episode was really cool, a really cool concept to display anxiety in a unique way. But then you just always cut back to Andrew and his poop fetish, and it's just so odd. I feel like somebody like writing this like really likes the thought of a young boy shitting himself in the forest, and that's why he wanted this episode to be made so bad. Either way, we have Jessie talking to her friend, and then this boy comes over and wants to take her to go see a bird in the woods, and that's interesting to say the least. So we get a lot of that, and they're talking about young boy ass. So that conversation was ultimately unimportant because it wasn't the main focus of the episode, even though I feel like they were telling a better story with that than Andrew's poop nonsense. At the same time, we also have Nick, who's trying to write for a stand-up act. He's trying his best to just make everybody laugh at camp. And Andrew is being very mean to Nick, and I did learn that it was because he kissed Missy, and Andrew has feelings for Missy, and Nick kissed her, so there's like blood boiling between them. And we get lots of wonderful, amazing scenes in which Andrew, he like burps, but it's burp is a fart, and everybody's like, oh, what is that stench? Oh god, and he blames it on Nick. So the entire camp is just shitting on Nick the entire episode.
Ugh, did you just furp?
Furp? What's a furp?
It's a fart burp, you fucking idiot.
Oh, what is that awful stench?
Which leads to some good scenes with the anxiety bug whispering in his ear. I really do love that concept, but just because it's because of Andrew and his shit monster, it doesn't really leave me enjoying myself. But guess what? You know, I've talked about 3 different plot lines going on here. We have Nick and his anxiety bug. We have Jessie and her trans friend dealing with this kid. That's that main plot there. And then we also have, at the same time, Jay and Lola. And they be getting up to some freaky things. Like, when you take into consideration that they are children, why do they have to showcase all of this in such weird ways, man? Like, somebody on that, like, writer's room has to have some kind of odd fetish, right? Because they're, like, sitting there in this pool that they made, and they're initially making out in, like, Roman garb, and then it's like, let me show you what's really going on. And they're just making out in like what appears to be a pool of mud, and then Jay starts like going like, ugh, yeah, let me lick inside of your fingernails, and he starts like sucking her fingers real good, and she's like, oh, thank you, oh yeah, Jay, and then he starts sucking and gobbling on her toes.
Oh, that's fucking tickles.
And that happens multiple times throughout the episode. Multiple times do I have to watch these young children suck each other's toes off. And it's just so off-putting, man. It's supposed to be shock value comedy that they're doing that, and they're supposed to be like a disgusting, muddy couple, because every time he sucks Lola's toes, they're covered in dirt and grime. And it's just disgusting, man. It's just shock value comedy with no substance just to make you go, ew. Which doesn't make me laugh. Just because it's doing its purpose, it doesn't make it enjoyable. It makes me want to stop watching. So yeah, I have to suffer through that for a while. That's just not good. We then cut back to Nick at camp, and he's bombing his set because nothing is funny, because apparently all of his jokes were set to hit and attack one kid whose brother just passed away, so everybody's being mean to him. And then we see that Andrew is starting to have the poop madness. Yeah. So he imagines a really hot woman, but it's apparently just a fireplace, and the poop madness puts you in like a psychosis spell because of how much you have to take a steamy one. Yeah? This sound thrilling to you yet? Because it sounds oh so thrilling to me. Yeah, so we cut to... it's just so dumb, bro. It's so dumb. Murray, his hormone monster, takes him into the doctor's office to diagnose him with poop madness, and he's like, okay, can you fart for me? Okay, fart for me again. Okay, now let's get a wet one out. Oh, yep. Yeah, you got poop madness. Yep. You're gonna start going more and more insane the longer this goes on.
Okay, fart. Fart again. Okay, big wet fart. Oh no.
You gotta get that thing out of you. Yep. So we have that portion of the episode, and then of course, guess what we cut back to? We cut back to Jay sucking more of Lola's toes. Yes, so many toe sucking jokes. We just have to keep on sucking them toes dry because there's nothing better, no more of a story to tell. Even though what's going on right now, you have that girl, I'm sorry, I don't know her name, I'm just calling her trans girl because that's the main portion of her story, but she kisses this guy who doesn't appreciate wanting to be seen with her. He wants to leave without her, so her feelings are very hurt, and that was actually a good story. But then it just basically ends there. She has a conversation with Jesse later saying, fuck that guy, and that's the entire portion of that story. It basically felt like it was handling a serious topic, but ultimately just decided to shy away from it entirely just to focus on different things, which ultimately was pointless. That entire portion of the story, which was considerably better than the poop madness nonsense, is just over instantly. It was just boring. Like, that sucks. And then you continue on with the Nick story. He's having more and more anxiety. He's freaking out more and more, and he's having his own problems. And at the same time, Andrew's out in the forest and he's hallucinating. The poop inside of his ass that we can literally see clinging to his asshole, it stabs Murray in the neck. And then he starts hallucinating and seeing the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. And he starts doing all this hallucinating stuff where he ends up in a bowl and there's a giant pig with a long pig penis, except it's his snout. Yeah. I don't understand what's going on. It drinks all the soup and then Andrew wakes up again and the poop is like inside of his stomach now saying, I'll never leave. And then Nick finds him. And of course, the second episode I watch also has another birthing scene. The Pillow Talk episode, I had to watch a pillow get birthed, and now I have to watch a shit birth where, oh god. It's Nick and Andrew, they're holding themselves together, and they're just holding each other's hands. Andrew's like throwing his ass up into the air, and he gives birth to it, and Nick picks it up, and just is holding the giant piece of poo, and then everybody comes and sees this, and they're like, let them judge, as Andrew produces even more shit and has twin poo babies.
Oh, you did it! You did it!
Like, God, I just actually feel like the storyboard meeting or just the pitch meeting for this episode must have been so thrilling. God damn it, if I don't see this young boy just producing lots of shit, I'm not gonna be having a good time. Oh no, bro, but make sure that there's lots of toe sucking also in the middle. We need to make sure of that. Jolly good show! Oh, let's make sure that we have the young boy give birth to his poop. Oh, guys, what about our actual decent plot lines, like Nick with his anxiety bug and overcoming that, and Jessie and her friend dealing with people not being accepting of her values and treating her like garbage? Let's throw those off to the side and focus on the poop, please, and the toe sucking. I'd like to order an extra source of toe sucking, poop jokes, and as for Nick and his anxiety plot, let's just make it all go out the way, all thrown out the window the second he sees Andrew with a little pregnant poop belly. That's all we really need to showcase our beautiful writing techniques, our beautiful storytelling skills, and everything we could possibly deliver. We're out here trying to tell a story that pubescent teens can relate to, and as they blossom into adults, the adults can relate and think back to a time when, yes, they were constipated so bad that they got the poop madness, and yes, back to the time when they were sucking their dirty, stinky lovers' toes that were covered in grime and mud as they said, oh yeah, who cares what other people think? Oh, suck my toes, baby. They will all relate to this desire. They will all love this episode, and they will all think before they poop. I don't know. Man, this is a harrowing experience, to say the least, to get through an episode like this. There's just so many shock value jokes that don't work because they all revolve around shitting, and unless you're a person who finds toilet humor to be the most hilarious thing on the planet, then this isn't for you. I don't know. I would much rather watch Eric Cartman shit on a toilet than anything in this episode, because at least it'd be like, screw you guys, I'm shitting at home. I don't know, he just has more chutzpah, more of a character, more of an interest, that he can make something like that funny. All of the characters here, they just suck, and watching Andrew just struggle with this as I have to stare at his gaping ass just with a big ol' pile of poo on it, it doesn't make me excited to watch the episode or to go further with it, and I had to watch a bunch of children suck each other's toes. So yeah, not a very fun experience. If I was to rate this episode 1 through 10, I would give it a 1 out of 10. It had nothing worth my time, nothing that makes me want to come back to this. This is just unbelievably sad. Alright guys, I think that's gonna be another rage quit for me. I don't really want to watch any more Big Mouth after watching 2 separate characters give birth, lots of toe sucking, and just the horrible animation just doesn't do it for me. The comedy for the show does not work. They try to do nonchalant conversations, but the characters aren't charismatic enough to actually make it seem interesting or make me care in an interesting way. They're just not funny, and a lot of the show relies on that shock humor, like seeing Jay randomly go like, oh, I'm 40, I'm busting in my pillow, or just seeing Andrew's gaping ass as he is holding in a turbo mega shit. It's just not that interesting. The comedy is just not that funny, and I know what a lot of people are going to say, well, you only looked at 2 episodes. You missed out on all of the really good stuff where they had amazing concepts that deal with puberty. I don't care. I don't care. I just don't care. This show is just flat out weird, dives into weird concepts, and the concept overall of trying to tackle, you know, puberty and going through that in that strange time with all that anxiety, that depression, that shame, that guilt is a great concept for a show. I just think the execution and the path they chose to go with this, leading way more into shock value comedy or just doing things that don't relate to that with any good lessons or any good message, it doesn't make for a good show. You had the concept that would have worked, but you decided to dive into all of these different and strange aspects that overall I think just don't work in a show. Especially focusing on constipation as your main focal point and having a character go to the doctor's office and be told to fart multiple times to be diagnosed with poop madness. It doesn't work for me. So yeah, this is my second time in a week rage quitting from a video because I did have more episodes that I was supposed to watch. I just can't do it. I really can't do it. And I don't even want to give a like goal because you guys smashed the Paradise PD one, and I do have to watch more Paradise PD because you guys got 2,000 likes, which doesn't usually happen on my channel. I don't know if this one's gonna blow up or get a lot of views. I don't know. But I'm just gonna play it safe and say 3,000 likes for more Big Mouth. I don't know. I don't feel good about this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.